Make you lose with the unthinkable. Don't stop till you come first. Life too unpredictable. Take control of what you're worth. Wasting time's forgivable.
Hey everyone, my name is Kaitlyn, and today we are going to discuss Infinity War. But finally, the actual discussion. We're going to talk spoilers and theories and just everything, you guys, because I am so excited and so ready. I have been dying to talk about this movie with you guys. So if you guys want to watch my spoiler-free review, I'll leave that video down below. If you are watching this video and you haven't seen it, do not do this to yourself, you guys. You guys have been waiting so long. Do not just go and watch all the spoilers. Please go watch the movie and then come back and discuss. Please, just do that. Just for yourself, for your own sake, go watch the movie before watching this video, because from now on, we are going to be discussing spoilers. So without further ado, let's get into it. First of all, this movie really just drops you right in the middle of the action. I thought just from the intro, I had goosebumps. We had the, the basic kind of new Marvel logo on screen, and it's just silent. At first it's just silent, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what is happening? And we don't have the Marvel theme song for once, or the Avengers theme song. Nope. It is a distress call from the Asgardian ship. My heart drops, you guys, immediately. I was like, oh no, they are not. Oh my god, I had goosebumps. That was so good. So having just a Marvel logo and having the distress call from the Asgardians, I was like, oh my god, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. Everyone knew this was coming from the end of Thor Ragnarok, and I was shook, you guys. So yeah, we started out with just Thanos and the Dark Order. They have killed pretty much all the Asgardians besides Thor and Loki. And that was so good. That was such a great scene. A brilliant way to open the movie, I thought. And it was hard to watch. Loki. Oh my god. Like, I just want to cry thinking about it. Like, this movie was extremely emotional for me. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. And just Loki, my baby. I don't want to cry, but that was really hard. I love him. And, we know Thor, the ship blows up, but we know Thor is going to be okay. So yeah, that was, quite an opening, that's for sure. It was also really great to see the Hulk get in on the action, and he's the one, that kind of becomes a messenger for Earth. He goes down to Earth through the Bifrost and meets Doctor Strange and delivers the message about Thanos is here, Thanos is coming. And it was so interesting, in the very beginning of the movie at least, to see how overwhelmed these characters feel. Like, it just kind of happened out of the blue. And I felt overwhelmed as a viewer. I felt rushed as a viewer. But honestly, the characters were feeling that too. The characters were just as rushed and overwhelmed. They were not prepared at all for Thanos. They've encountered villain after villain after villain and have been faced with not that much challenge. And Thanos delivers that challenge that they haven't faced before. And not only was it a new challenge and a new threat, but one that was such a much grander scale than they were used to. Because really, they fight their battles on Earth and that's about it. This was the first time that they are going to different planets and fighting and meeting so many other superheroes. And it was just, this movie was just big. It was huge. Huge ass movie. I talked about this in my spoiler-free review, but I love Thanos. I love him as a character. I love him as a villain. He was incredible. Just every little detail, his dialogue, his facial expressions, how he kind of handles himself when he's around the other superheroes. Like, I loved him. He was a fantastically terrifying villain, and I loved having him in this movie. This was his movie. He was absolutely standout. I thought all the characters were also very standout. The ones that stood out to me the most was Thor, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange, actually. I loved those three, and they played such an important role in the movie. I really wish Cap had more of a bigger role. I'm gonna be honest, he was just kind of there. But this wasn't his movie. This wasn't, you know, I gotta take a step back a little bit. This wasn't Cap's movie. But Thor played a great role, so did Iron Man, and so did Doctor Strange. And speaking of Doctor Strange, I have a lot more to say about him later. So, we'll come back to Doctor Strange. There were times when it felt like it got a bit overwhelming. There were so many characters, it was very overpacked, and there was a lot of things happening at once. It was kind of like there's a fight over here, there's a fight over here, let's check in with these characters. It was just, there was a lot happening, and it was kind of hard to keep things straight at times, but the action was pretty incredible, and seeing these heroes that we haven't seen really fighting together was awesome. When they're on Titan, and it's like the Guardians and Iron Man and Spider-Man. That fight scene was so cool. That was such an amazing fight scene when they're trying to take the gauntlet off. Oh my god, that was really, really great. Or there was a really fantastic like female fight on Wakanda with Natasha's Black Widow, and they're fighting the woman from the Dark Order. That scene when they're just in the trench and those women are fighting, that was just incredible. That was so good. And also characters that were kind of stand out that I wasn't really expecting was Wanda, who's the Scarlet Witch, and Vision. I had never loved or cared for Vision more than I did in this movie, and the two of them, like, I did not think that it would hit me that hard, but I was so invested in their relationship and just what was happening, and I love the two of them so much. Like I said, they were just kind of two side characters that have just kind of been there, and they had just some really special moments in this movie that had me just extremely emotionally invested in them. Of course, we had Stan Lee's cameo. He was Spider-Man's bus driver, which also, you guys, Spider-Man was so good. I'm still not sure how I feel about his new suit with the spider legs. It worked. Like, it was really interesting. The spider legs offered him mostly balance. In the comics, the spider legs kind of have their own kind of abilities and stuff, but in the movie they mostly used it so he can kind of jump around and balance himself and grab onto things and stuff, and it was really interesting. Iron Man's suit also had some freaking awesome upgrades. Oh my god, you guys, Iron Man was so cool, and that's coming from someone who is a hardcore Cap fan. There were a lot of moments that definitely surprised me and shocked me, and there was also a lot of moments that I found to be really predictable. For instance, when they're talking about the stones and they're like, no one knows where the soul stone is, blah, 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 all of a sudden we just get a close-up of Gamora's face, and she's just like, and just turns away. And I kind of look, and I'm like, you know. I was like, Gamora knows. Gamora and Thanos' relationship was so interesting, and I'm so glad we got to explore that because I caught that in the most recent trailer. And I was like really intrigued, and it was so good. Having Gamora's kind of childhood with Thanos revealed a little bit showed a lot more depth, not only to Thanos but to Gamora and what she's been through. You know, because from the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, Gamora is just this fierce warrior, which she still is, and then she kind of starts to open up and soften up and really she really just changes throughout the course of Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was really interesting seeing her as a child and what made her that fierce warrior. And that was really crazy. And when they're on Vormir and they're going for the Soul Stone, and we have the villain, the Hydra villain from the first Captain America, I literally had just this like WTF moment where I was like, what the hell is this dude doing here? Like, there's always been predictions that he would come back, and that just kind of cracked me up. I was like, oh, it's Ultron, where's Ultron? I was just kind of waiting. I was like, Ultron's coming in next. Everyone, just wait. Ultron's coming back. And I just kind of laughed. He's just there, kind of a Grim Reaper looking guy, like, basically guiding people to the Soul Stone and talking about how he's cursed and stuff. So that was really entertaining. But Thanos killing Gamora to get the Soul Stone. Y'all, I cried. That hit me hard. I love Gamora, and that was just an incredibly emotional part. And I will go into this a little bit more towards the end, but I think there's more to the Soul Stone and Gamora than we've seen so far. So let me finish talking about it, and then we will go into that. I thought overall there wasn't too much added to the original Avengers stories because we've had so many movies of them and so much development and evolution that this was really Thanos' movie and developing him, which I really enjoyed. So it wasn't like we had a bunch of new information revealed about any of the Avengers, which is good because we didn't really need it. Really the only time we got that was like Loki and Gamora, and then with Vision and Scarlet Witch's relationship. And I really liked how most of the movie wasn't on Earth. Like, yes, we had those really great Wakandan, just big fight scenes and like the, you know, first kind of scenes when they're in New York and stuff, but overall, like, we weren't on Earth, and I really like that because that really just shows the grand scale of what is happening, what Thanos is doing. Thanos having these 6 Infinity Stones affects every planet in the universe. It's not just Earth, it's not just about Earth. And I thought that was a really important message that they were showing by taking us just different parts of the galaxy. A part of me feels like I wish we had 2 movies because it was so rushed and overwhelming. I kind of wish I had more time, you know, to mourn like Loki and Gamora and stuff. Like, I really think they would have benefited from having one movie where he gets like the first 3 stones and another movie would get the next 3, which when they originally had Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, that's what I thought they were going to do. But I mean, this movie still worked. It still worked, but I think it definitely could have benefited a little bit by slowing down. You know, we've had 10 years. Like, we can afford to still take some time. But yeah, Part 1 and Part 2 I think would have benefited, but they still delivered this movie very, very well. Like, for instance, with Xandar, like, when we have the very first, like, scene of the movie, and Thanos is trying to get the Tesseract from Loki, and we see that he already has the stone that the Guardians had that they put on Xandar. And, you know, the whole movie, it's like, okay, like, it's not really talked about, like, how did he get that stone, blah, 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 and all of a sudden it's just a random piece of dialogue where Thor is like, oh, he went and destroyed Xandar and got it. And I'm just kind of like, ah, what? They didn't really show that really at all. Like, that was something that they could have easily, like, probably instead of starting it out with them on the Asgardian ship, probably they could have shown him destroying Xandar and then going to the Asgardian ship and stuff and meeting Loki and Thor. So little things like that I'm like, oh, like, I wish we just had a little bit more time just to still develop everything. And it was just crazy, this feeling I had while watching this movie. Like, I just felt so helpless and so hopeless, like, just watching it. Like, their asses were just whooped. Like, Thanos just whoops them. And, like, it was just, I felt just as hopeless and helpless as they did. Like, I really felt like I was in the middle of the action on this journey with them, and it was just incredible. So, I was really affected by the ending when they were all just kind of being dusted. So, I need to watch this movie again, because what I got from the ending, so, Captain America is, like, fighting Thanos, and all of a sudden, Thanos' face just kind of drops, and we get put into this little kind of dream-like sequence where it kind of looks like they're back on the Soul Stone planet on Vormir, and it's with, like, little Gamora and Thanos and stuff, and, you know, just talk about whether the price was worth it, you know, and how much Thanos had to give up to get what he wanted. All of a sudden, we're back, and the gauntlet is just, like, crushed, and Thanos just kind of freaks out. Like, you just see him just look very vulnerable, and he just disappears immediately, and all the characters start dusting. And I was like, there is something there. There has to be something there. Because one by one, each of these characters was just kind of going. And I was like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. Like, they did not just kill off all these freaking characters. I was actually a little upset. Like, I was just in the middle, and I was like, no, where's Bucky? Where's Spider-Man? T'Challa, like, come back. And now that I'm here and, like, actually, like, did some research and really thought about it, I was like, okay, here's my 2 cents. So, in the comics, And the Avengers Annual, I think it's Volume 1, Number 7, The Final Threat. Then, in this, they talk about how the Soul Stone still kind of has Gamora's consciousness in a way. She's still kind of there, still kind of a part of it. Like, there's definitely a lot more to the Soul Stone than we know. And so, what could have been is Thanos had tried to kill all of them, and this was like Gamora's way of saving them, saving their souls. All these characters that just kind of disappeared in dust could somehow be, their souls could somehow still be a part of the Soul Stone. I need to read more comics and really just look more into this because I'm really intrigued about the Soul Stone and kind of that story. I know in the comics Adam Warlock has a lot to do with the Soul Stone and a lot to do with defeating Thanos, but the producers already kind of talked about how they're not developing Adam Warlock, which is interesting because they set him up at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So, I don't know, I'm very, very fascinated to see what they're going to do. I don't think these characters are actually dead. They can't be. Like, I'm not okay with that. Obviously, we have another Black Panther coming and another Spider-Man coming. But I definitely, like, this movie left me a lot more questions than answers. Also, I mentioned I wanted to come back to Doctor Strange. So, when they're on Titan and Doctor Strange is, going into the future and kind of seeing all the different possibilities, he talks about how there's 14 million something alternatives that we lose, and there's one that we win. That's all he gives. And then when he saves Iron Man's life and gives Thanos the Time Stone, in my head I'm like, the hell are you doing, dude? Like, do not give him the stone. But then it really hit me. I was like, Doctor Strange knows something. He knows something. He wouldn't have intentionally given Thanos the stone if he had known that it would destroy us. Like I said, like, there was one path that we go on where we win, and Doctor Strange saw that path. So my guess is maybe Thanos needs all of them. In order for them to defeat him, maybe he needs all the stones. So that was just really interesting. I think there's just a lot more. There was just, the little details, little subtle details that Marvel always gives that really just, opens up for more discussion and more predictions and stuff. So those are kind of my 2 cents from what I gathered. Yeah, that was just, you guys, there was just so much happening in this movie. And also the end credit scene. You guys, Captain Marvel is coming, baby. She is coming. I was so pumped. That end credit scene, I was just waiting for it. I was like, this is it. It's gonna be her. It's gonna be her. And sure enough, Fury dusts, and he's sending out a signal, and Captain Marvel's logo comes up. I'm so excited, you guys. I am gonna be just spamming you guys for the next year with Captain Marvel stuff, and I have no shame or guilt. I'm so excited. I'm so excited she's gonna be in it. Thank you guys so much for watching this spoilery discussion of Avengers Infinity War. There was a lot to talk about. I will leave all my Infinity War stuff down below if you guys want to watch my trailer reactions, my spoiler for review, my everything. I just love discussing this movie. Let me know down below what some of your thoughts were, and I'm going to look into some more comics on the Soul Stone and just kind of defeating Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff, because those are areas of the comics I'm not super familiar with. So I think I need to do some homework, and I'm going to come back to you guys with a bunch more information and comic book theories and stuff, and just have a bunch more videos coming up for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone!